Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigval here and welcome back to our video. So in this one I kind of started those fights with the purpose of showcasing my absolute best teams on the main account, and it will to an extent kind of accomplish that purpose, but there's something in the middle of the process that kind of went wrong. But for now we're going to take a look at Battle on the Ground, and we're going to fight Boss Something. So Boss Something is dot damage immune, and she's going to deal hazard dot damage, so she doesn't care about that immunity. And this is one of the very good things about Battle on the Ground, except for the fact that she does a lot of damage, because I like, that's the main good thing about her. Let's not beat around the bush here. She's the best damage dealer in the game. I don't think there's any arguing with it. If bosses had more than 2 billion health, Mr. Freeze for the pay to win with Beta Club would be obviously better, but they don't, and she does 2 billion health with far less investment required, so I think it's safe to call her the best damage dealer in the game. But at the same time, there's a lot of fights in the game that they put in order to try and nerf the efficiency of the Beta Club and the efficiency of the League of Anarchy team, because those used to be and still are to an extent some of the most powerful things in the game. But in order to do this, they put dot resistance on bosses, and those bosses were kind of a pain in the ass to kill, not because they were necessarily hard, but they were grindy. You would have to waste a lot of fights, rely on percentage hull damage, but no more, because dot damage and hazard dot damage are two separate things. And I don't think I went to really explain this, or I explained it but some time ago. So dot damage is going to be stuff that's going to be caused by either abilities or basic attack hits for the most part. It's something that you can clearly see being flunked from your character. Either you're actively hitting them with basic attack hits, or you're using a special at that moment and that special does dot damage. Hazard dot damage is going to be something that happens in the environment of the fight, which means it's either gonna be an area you put on the ground and they're going to take damage while they sit in it, or for Battle on the Ground, and she's the only character in the game that can do this, in the whole area of the fight. So that's hazard dot damage. Also, hazard dot damage is stuff that you take from the hazards on the ground. Also, it's kind of weird that this is hard as hazard dot damage if you think about it, because we've had arena-wide effects, but for bosses, not for characters so far, and that was regarded as dot damage because it would get reduced by the dot resistance. But nobody had the animation of filling the arena with water, I guess. And now for the next team is going to be Grodd plus Brainiac. So we have Robin in here to give Grodd some lethal attack damage. We have Brainiac to give some more lethal attack damage with Grodd with his special ones. And we have Grodd himself with the Beta Club to deal some damage. And this is gonna be peak performance Grodd for this account, because we get the passive stats from the Beta Club, which is at level 10. We get the passive stats from the Kryptonite Spear, which is at level 6, and also have a Kryptonite Ring at level 8. The Kryptonite Ring is a lower attack artifact, but I just got that high level when I purchased artifacts for this already, and I'm still keeping it. We'll eventually replace it. But we're gonna deal a lot of damage here. By the way, for the previous fight with Battle on the Ground, if you're wondering, I had level 6 Dark Mail cards on her, in the Beta Club, and Kryptonite Spear for the passive stats. And we're just gonna combo and chop there, and we get all the way up to 37 towards 40. I think at some points we will see 40 mil damage per second in some instances, and this is absolutely insane. This is far more than is required to kill a 2 billion fight. I mean, not far more, because there will not be that many seconds left on the clock by the time we kill. This is nothing as absurd as Mr. Freeze, but more on Mr. Freeze himself a little bit later on. But yeah, 20 seconds left on the clock, and she's down for the count. Next up, we have Manta here, and we have Boss Catwoman. Honestly, this is not what went wrong. I would have put this cleanup fight in my toxic teams, because I got a comment from a dude and I explained to him, why is Manta bad? Why are you using him for cleanup fights only? Well, compared to the other stuff that you're gonna see in this video, he's by far the weakest guy, but he's very reliable in terms of cleaning up fights. And this is the case because I do have the Beta Club artifact. Because I have the Beta Club artifact, I'm going to use Raven with Mr. Freeze or with Kimplant Sakumen. But for the free-to-play side of things, one of the strongest teams in the game is going to be Manta plus Raven, and that's going to eventually take you to 2 billion damage. It's quickly going over that. In this one, I'm sorry for my sins, but I'm unironically using Firestorm as a support character. So Firestorm's passive is going to be able to give him some, himself as well, but mainly his team, some dot resistance. And Arlie is going to be able to deal a lot of dot damage to us, and that's going to reduce it. Another fun fact, I don't think this is hazard dot resistance that he's giving us. Like, we have hazard dot resistance on the resistances of Ravens, so if I think about it, that passive might not be doing anything for Mr. Freeze, and he's the main purpose why I am using him in this team. So yeah, Mr. Freeze most likely taking the full damage from the hazards, so that was kind of pointless. But he's there anyway. Over here, I'm just letting her kill my Raven, because usually with Mr. Freeze fight, when you get that much damage done, the game is gonna be like, ho ho ho, are you hacking, my dude? No, I'm using an artifact that I paid for, not hacking. And over here, Firestorm super move to finish the 1 health opponent off. And then a problem, she's not dead. Okay. That's a little bit of a problem. She was not sitting on 1 HP, but it's okay. This is salvageable. Good thing I didn't get my Mr. Freeze killed to avoid unusual gameplay. So we're gonna let things run a bit. We're gonna deal some damage to her, and she's gonna be dead. Like, she was very close to no health, and I assumed the hazard dot got her eventually to 1 health. Yeah, this is the little bit of a problem that we encountered. So, the stun resistance bug, I don't know if it has been removed or not from the game, because they did a little bit of a patch to kind of fix network errors or something to that extent. I get conflicting things said about it. Some people are saying that it is still in league rates, but is no longer in soul rates. And this might simply be a situation of a bug that's working in some stories, in some stories not. I can't really put my finger on what it was, but I'm 100% sure we did encounter the situation where there was a bug in some story, and I think it was early on when he had only Dawn of Apocalypse and Rise of Krypton. There was a little bit of a bug that you could, excuse me for that phone call, that you could exploit, you could do it in Dawn of Apocalypse, then Rise of Krypton came back, or the other way around, and people are like, oh, they removed it. Then we got Rise of Krypton back, so you could do it again. So there was simply 1 soul, right? And I think it has to do with the way they program things, they code things, I don't know, I'm not a game developer. Or they might have removed it from soul rates altogether, we can only wait and see. But yeah, here we can't stun her. And I knew this was no longer in the game for Rise of Krypton at the very least. I just forgot to check the stun resistance stat on her, because I'm just used to throwing my League of Anarchy at anything, because it doesn't really matter. But yeah, we did a reasonable amount of damage, like 1 billion damage without stunning with Harley is definitely not too bad. And this fight went kind of badly. I'm using Beta Club on Kimflant Sakomen, and I'm using Classic Wonderman for some crit damage, and he's doing fine with Beta Club. You're still not gonna use him with Beta Club unless you use Raven, and that's great, because not everybody has Beta Club. The optimal gameplay for Kimflant Sakomen, for the most part, unless you're using Raven with him, will still be to use Nora Snow Globe. But she was missing some health, and I was like, okay, we might as well try it, and she is annoying. Like, she has that thing that some other characters have. For example, EPI is another character that I can think of that simply makes them transition very fast from a block to a from a jump attack or a swipe attack to a block, so you can't really properly do the jumps. King gets hit there again. Also, something interesting that you'll see towards the end of the fight, eventually my Classic Wonderman will die. And after she dies, we're going to get severely reduced damage. Maybe we just got unlucky with the crits, or maybe her passive no longer works after she's dead. But as far as I remember, though, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Her passive still worked regardless of if she died or not, but do correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, all that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!